Okay, so I'm going to show you the knot here. The goal here is to tie a PR knot back onto itself onto the main line to give you a loop knot that you can use with a triple cat's paw to terminal tackle, which should be 100% connection all the way through using conventional braid. And then I'm going to tell you why I think this method is superior to other terminal tackle connections after I tie this and show you that it's 100% strength. So a few differences between this knot and a conventional PR knot that you're going to tie from braid to mainline is that this one you need to run lighter drag on your PR bobbin. And if you have it, run a slightly lighter PR bobbin. This is a heavier PR bobbin that I use for when I tie all of my PR knots. This one I know is maybe like 10 grams lighter than that. And it also has a bit of a finer drag. The reason you want to run less drag on your bobbin is that when you're doing the spirals, it will cause the braid to spiral with the bobbin, and you want to avoid that because that will introduce micro flaws into the line that can compromise the final strength of the knot. So you need to set your drag to maybe about 2/3 to half to 2/3 of the typical strength that you use this when tying from braid to leader. But I'm right-handed, so the spool, and I'm using Berkeley PE6 that has a breaking strength of around 80 pounds. That's pretty accurate. Sometimes it's a pound or two less, but if we do this correctly and test it, it should break at 79 pounds on the main line and outside of the knot. So if I am holding this in my right hand, to tie this right-handed, you only just need about a loop's length in your hand, and then you're going to pinch it nice and tight and run up some length onto your bobbin. And then when you start the bobbin spirals, do them looser at the start, or longer spirals, and then as you get towards the bottom, tighten it up. And you should have tighter spirals at the top, and they get a little looser as you get towards the bottom of the knot. And then, as with any PR, you're going to block the bobbin with your thumb, and you're going to start the spirals. All right. So that's the PR knot on a piece of braid. Then with the tag end, you can just maybe grab I have a few hooks here on the wall, and I can use to secure the loop, and then I just finish it however you like to finish your PR knot. But the fewer finishing, the less fancy your finishing, typically the better. I just do a few overhands, alternating overhand, underhand hitches to lock out because these finishing knots are just to secure the tag end. All of the PR knot strength is inside the knot. None of the strength actually comes from locking it. These finishing knots. So overhand, underhand, overhand, underhand. And the last thing I'll do is with the tag end, I will tie just a regular overhand knot, and then cinch it up against the hitches here to lock the hitch. So taking the tag end in your hand, tying a regular old overhand knot, and then driving that knot up to the hitches. Is the best finisher I found. It doesn't come undone. You don't have to put a flame anywhere near it. And so in order to really drive it up, I use some pliers with really tightly fitting teeth, and I will grab the tag end and take a few wraps on this, and then pull the tag end through. You kind of saw it cinch up there. Pull the tag end through those teeth so that my stopping knot is really tight against those hitches. And then you can tie just you can cut it maybe like a millimeter away. So there's the PR knot, loop knot. And then what you'll do is you'll get your terminal tackle. In this case, I'm just using a snap. And you'll do a triple cat's paw. So it goes through the loop, will go through your terminal connection, your terminal eyelet, open up, and then put your terminal through the loop. And then you'll open up the other side of it, bring your loop through the open up, make sure it's not crisscrossed. Make sure it cannot be crisscrossed. That will cause a break. So they need to be separated. Those knots, or those parts that went through the eyelet. Then you're going to take that piece that just came through the line and put your terminal back through it, and then do it one more time. And this is the triple cat's paw. This is not the best illustration, but that's not the point of this video. You also don't necessarily need to cinch your PR knot. You'll notice I skipped that part. If you tied the PR knot correctly, all of the strength will be up inside the kind of the top of the knot. There's very little strength that's derived in the lower third or by your finishing hitches. And so when you're finishing your cat's paw, you need to make sure it kind of has that twisted kind of pattern to it. And then as you're really driving that up, you can either lubricate a little bit, and also I will pinch it and kind of ease it up to itself as I'm pulling the main line. So I'm pulling with my right hand, and then I'm kind of pushing with my thumb and index in order to get a tight, kind of get that braided pattern, or like cornrows. Anyways, so that's a 100% strength connection for braid, conventional braid. Like you don't need hollow core. You don't need to tie like splices. You don't have to tie a bimini twist. And the reason I like this method is because those other methods have some kind of fatal flaw. The bimini twist is an issue because when you tie it, you rely on there being a lot of tension. And that tension can cause flaws in the line itself. And people report that it's 100% strength knot, but it can fail for unknown reasons. So it's inconsistent. And then the other way to get this loop on conventional braid is to use the Aussie plate. But the Aussie plate really requires a lot of length here. And if you pull the Aussie plate up into your guide train on your rod, if it jams in any of the guides or even hits them hard enough, it can loosen the entire knot and you get a situation where it could slip. Otherwise, to get that loop, you need to run hollow core. And hollow core isn't favorable because it's really expensive to start. You need pretty controlled situation to make a splice. And hollow core will also take on a lot of water when you're fishing it. So if you're jigging, you want to keep the line diameter as low as possible, and hollow core can kind of be counterproductive to that goal. Then the other connections are like for braid to terminal that you'll see are Palomar and improved clinch, but the best you can get from those is about 80%. The reason the double line works, any double line that you get, is because you're splitting whatever the max break strength of your main line is. Whatever the max break strength of your main line is, you're getting twice that break strength here, right? You're dividing the tension in half between two lines. So it should never break in the loop. And then when you tie the triple cat's paw, you're also distributing all of that tension over 2 points that cross over the eyelet of your terminal tackle, and then all of that tension is being distributed down this kind of braided twist. So this should also be more than 100% strength. In fact, this should all be, let's be optimistic. If I was going to be optimistic, I would say this is 200% strength, but like I've been working this line up through here, and so it could be, I would say 175% strength. But with with this specific line, it's PE 6 with an 80-pound break strength, Berkeley X5. And so we'll go test this. I have a scale that I keep so I can test knots that I'm pioneering, just to make sure they work with the lines that I want to use, or make sure that I'm tying them correctly. And so I have a dowel here. And when you're like, let's say, people cinch their knots on the boat and they tie their tag end and their leader around a dowel. Make sure when you're doing that, you never cross over the line. Like it's always a continuous spiral and it never doubles back, because as soon as it's a continuous spiral. And because as soon as you double back over the line, you end up with a lot of tension at 1 or 2 points that introduce micro flaws into the line. And the whole point of tying knots in a controlled scenario, in your basement or at home, is that you can make sure they are 100% and that you don't introduce any other flaws into your line. So let's take these over here. You can also use this with a wind-on. Like this will allow you to run a conventional, like normal braid, non-hollow core braid, and then you can run wind-on leaders if that's your thing. So we're looking for anything close to 80 pounds, or we're looking for it to break inside or outside of our terminal connection, outside of the PR knot, outside of the double line, outside of the cat's paw. If it breaks on the main line, then we can reasonably say that the main line was the weak point, not our knot. So this thing will hold the max tension, so I can film it after I break the line here. So yeah, no double backing, and then did I tear this out? I did tear it. Okay, so we're up to 77. I'm gonna tear it one more time. Well, just then and there, I put 77 pounds of pressure on it. And so I'm going to tear that back to 0. All right. So it looks like we broke on the main line, which is the goal there. And we got 79.3 pounds. Perfect. Man, that's a perfect score. And here's the mangled mess that's left over from the knot. I'm just using this for focusing. And everything stayed intact, right? Like, PR knot looks good. Cat's paw looks good. And we got our 80%, 80 pounds break strength. So that's 100% strength connection. If you think there's improvements made on this, or you have something constructive to add, I'm all ears. But the main points are to run a little bit less drag on your bobbin and don't overwork the line. Tie as few knots as you can get away with to finish it, because these ones are just to secure the tag end. Anything more is unnecessary. So I hope that's helps you out with your own fishing goals. Thanks for watching. Good luck out there.